Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. All right, we're good. How is everybody doing today? eSIMstudios podcast live stream, mobile tech news live stream. It'll be a quick episode. Daughter's birthday is today, so it'll be rather quick. But there is one. There's a new device that came out. I'm sure everybody's familiar with the Poco series. Poco is owned. I came very, very close to purchasing a Poco phone. What was it? The F5 or F6. It was about a year ago. Never got around to it. And we'll get into why here shortly. But today, Poco is a sub-brand. It's owned by Xiaomi, the Mi brand. Released and or launched today. Very interesting specs. Very interesting price tag, may I add. I'm sure you could see by the thumbnail. $399. Could this be? Is this the true flagship killer? Well, we will get into it here. Again, it is my daughter's birthday, so it's going to be a rather quick episode. But I did want to jump into this because this is rather big news, right? I mean, this device is. Now, let's go ahead and pull up. Let me see here. Poco. Let me see if I got my screen share ready. All right, let's do this. Oh, and I got some Samsung news that actually we'll get into here. Actually, let's go ahead and get into that real quick. And then we'll get into Poco F7. So check this out. I couldn't find it. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So, well, I guess two Samsung things. First of all, you can pre-order the Fold 7 and Flip 7. Now, here's an interesting strategy. Now, I think it's a smart move because I actually really like the device. I know it did not sell well, and I don't know why. I think it just got a bad rap from the jump, and people just automatically wrote it off. But y'all know I love the S25 Edge. Y'all know that. Absolutely love the device. Battery life is insane for how small it is. Well, guess what? Going into this Edge series, Samsung had plans if it sold well. This was the basis, the premises of moving into the future for Samsung. If the S25 Edge sold well, they were going to remove the Plus model from next year and insert the Edge. So you would have a S26, which is the small, S26 Edge, which is the super thin one, and then you would have the S26 Ultra. Well, guess what? The S25 Edge did not sell well, or not selling well. So once we got the news last week that the S25 Edge was not selling well, I was like, well, I guess they're not going to insert it into next year's lineup. I guess we're wrong. So we got model numbers for the upcoming S26 series. That's correct. IMEIs, as you know, each and every device that's sold has an IMEI. It's basically like a VIN number, like for a vehicle. It's how you can identify each individual device. Every device that gets cellular connectivity, not Wi-Fi, but each device that gets cellular connectivity to the carrier services, gets issued an IMEI number. Well, as each series of each device, when you get a continual yearly release, you have to, it's a big process, and these things take years in advance to plan. But in plan, as we move forward towards the next model, look, the S25 series has been out. It was released and we're launched in January, so we're in February, March, April, May, June. Next month will be 6 months. Once you hit that 6th month, if you're on a yearly cycle, once you get past that 6-month halfway point, which will be next month, that's when Samsung and or whatever other carrier, or excuse me, whatever manufacturer, that's what gear up for the upcoming release. And dummy units made, of course, they already know. I'm sure Samsung knows right now what the S26 series is going to look like. Dummy units get made, review units get made, the software gets refined, and guess what? IMEIs get issued and or allocated a certain set of IMEI numbers. Now, somebody, Android Authority, is putting this out there. The S26 lineup has been issued IMEI numbers and model numbers, and guess what? The S26 Edge was included in the model numbers and has its very own, was issued and or allocated its very own set of IMEI numbers. So what does that mean? That means Samsung's moving forward with an S26 Edge. 2 thumbs up from me, because it's almost, I don't have any complaints. Honestly, it was my favorite device from the whole lineup. So if they can improve upon the S25 Edge, which had very little cons, so to speak, already, the S26 should be even better. And what I think they're going to do is implement a slightly bigger battery. Not like it needs it, because I'm damn near 9 hours of screen on time. I think the most screen on time in a full charge from 100 to 0, got 8 hours and 38 minutes of screen on time. So even if you make it a slightly bigger battery and or make it even slimmer next year, I'm going to get it. So now what we don't know is if Samsung is going to kick out the Plus model. And here's what it looks like. It looks like they are, because we did not get a model number or IMEI numbers allocated for an S26 Plus model. So all you Plus lovers out there, which includes myself, once Samsung moved from 8 gigs of RAM to 12 gigs of RAM in the S24 Plus, S23 Plus had 8 gigs of RAM. S24 Plus, they bumped it up to 12 gigs of RAM. That's when and they also upgraded it to a 2K display, a QHD display at the same time on the S24 Plus. That's boom. That's when it became a rock solid phone to get. You cannot miss phone, meaning if you get it, you're going to like it, right? So it's a shame that it looks like they're going to do away with the Plus next year, but the Edge, if that's basically going to take its place, it's basically the Plus model, just super slim. So it is what it is. I told y'all yesterday, Samsung executives love the thin models, and they are going to thin down their devices moving forward. And again, that's why we talked about the S27 Ultra not having an S Pen, because they're going to increase the battery and they're going to slim it down. Even if it's thinning it up by like shaving off a millimeter off of the thickness, they're going to do it. So shame that the Plus model will get eliminated, but glad to see the S26 Edge. I was hoping deep down inside it would not just be a one-off model, right? So I'm glad to see them continue that. So let's go ahead and move into, and there was some, what's going on, Angel? I appreciate you joining us. I'm doing excellent. Thank you for asking, and I hope you're doing fine as well. It's my daughter's birthday, so gonna get out of here in a few minutes. But real quick before we move on to Poco, the S20, we got colors, I think, for the, now I showed you 3 colors yesterday for the Flip 7. I think we got all the colors. Let's see. And then we'll get into Poco. Let's see briefly. Oh, it looks like we're going to get a price increase as well, which sucks. It looks like they're going to increase $100. So the Flip 7 is going to increase $100, and the Fold 7 is going to increase $100. So the Flip 7 will now start at $1,099, $1,100. Now they are introducing a Flip 7 FE, which starts at $700, which is basically the Galaxy Z Flip 6, just rebranded into a Flip 7 FE. But the bad news on the Fold 7, which looks freaking awesome, you're going to see a price increase of $100 as well. So it is what it is. Tariffs probably have something to do with it, right? Inflation across the world, parts are more expensive. So what does the Fold 7 start out at? What did the Fold start out at? $18.99? I believe so. So this should start around $19.99. Yikes. Right around $2,000. Jeez. I don't know if I'm going to get it. I know Samsung's not sending it to me, so I would have to purchase one. I don't think I'm going to be able to, at least not right now. Maybe 3 months from now I will, but I got about nothing 3, possibly the Flip 7. So, but let's get into the colors. So we got red, black, and blue. Now that's I believe those are Samsung. Okay, those are the regular colors. I thought those were the exclusive colors, but it looks like we have more exclusive colors. So these 3 base colors are going to be coral red, jet black, and blue shadow, which is dark blue. And then the other colors, Samsung exclusive colors, you're going to get a mint green exclusive, Samsung exclusive color for the mint green on the Flip 7. Now let's see the Fold 7 colors. Fold 7 looks like we're going to get 3 colors: jet black, dark blue, and silver. And with a Samsung exclusive color with mint green. Interesting. So it looks like there will be a Samsung exclusive mint green for the Fold 7 and Flip 7. I don't know about the FE, but it is what it is. Probably just basic colors, right? Or it could be the same. Now, we do have words for all the lovers out there that like the Galaxy Buds FE. I'm a big user of the Samsung Galaxy Buds FE. In fact, I got a white and a black here. Samsung's coming out with new affordable earbuds. Now these are my favorite, not just because of the price. These are affordable. I like these because they have the wing on them. All these little AirPod style earbuds, they always fall out. The only ones that stay in my ear all day, every day, are the ones that have the little silicone wings on them, that have the little wings that go up inside your ear. These are the only ones that work, and looks like Samsung's getting to release a really, really budget-friendly version called the Samsung Galaxy Buds Core. And then they're also coming out with the Buds 3 FE. So it looks like you're going to get a super Galaxy Buds, which should be like, I don't know, probably $50, probably $49 right off the bat. And then you're going to see the Galaxy Buds 3 FE, which are going to be probably, what are these, $100, something like that. So you'll get super affordable ones at $50, right around there, and then you'll get the FE variants, which I think I got these on sale for like $79 or $80 a pop. So definitely recommend. The battery life is forever, and you get good quality audio. So I'm a huge proponent of Galaxy Buds. I don't use anything else, honestly. And I just got these because I think I got a good deal with them, with my S25 Ultras. Angel said it's just so different. My coworker was using mine today, and he said he was very impressed on how it feels in the hand and how light it is. I love how light the thing is. I'm using this S25 Ultra. This thing's like a brick. Switching from the Edge to the Ultra, this thing feels like a brick, and you can notice it right off the bat. As soon as you put it in your pocket and you walk out the door, you're like, what the hell? Your pants are falling down. Oh, no, you're good. He says, I'm a bit late, but I'm here to noon. Your birthday is tomorrow. Excellent. My daughter's birthday is today. I'm supposed to make this a quick stream, so I may need to get out of here. But happy early birthday to you, sir. The trade-in might help for the Fold 7. Plus, opening a credit card to get the rewards can lower the price. Yeah, that's true. I don't think I've ever used Samsung. You're talking about in-house financing through Samsung. Yeah, and whenever these launch, I always have a couple of these streams every year. My trade-in hack, where I can basically, I think it's widely known by now, but it's what I always do is, and I'll show you how to do it step by step, but I'll go grab a cheap trade-in to get the most back, right, trade-in value for that device. That'll save hundreds of dollars, but we'll do that when these get released, and we'll cover all this. But let me jump into the Poco so I can get out of here. You like that? Yes, very nice phone. So the Poco F7 released today, and I had mentioned when I started this that I got close to buying, I believe, last year's model, because I think it was about a year ago. It was either the F5 or the F6. But I saw it, saw the spec sheet. I actually stayed up, I think like 5 in the morning. I stayed up last time to watch the keynote and the launch, and I was very impressed, and I never purchased it. I think because I had just purchased the Nothing Phone 2A at that point. And again, very few phones have been sent to me free of charge, only a handful, and most of these I got to buy myself. So even I have to watch what I spend. It's a very expensive hobby, but yes, I sent this in on the chat. Well, I got close to buying it last year. Now this one came, and I thought, you know what? Damn it! Now the Nothing Phone 3 is coming out next week. And I'm like, I'm definitely getting that. And I'm like, I really want to get this Poco phone. But it got me thinking, if you look at the specs, and we'll pull it up right now, they are very similar to the Nothing Phone 3, and it's half the price. Half the price of the Nothing Phone 3 with basically the same specs. Now, camera quality may or may not be that much different. Honestly, we won't know with the Nothing Phone 3 until we get it. I'm assuming the Phone 3 is going to have better sensors, but we don't know yet. So let's look at this Poco F7. I got it pulled up right here in my search results already. So here we go. Now, I actually tried to find a link to purchase this, and I couldn't find one. It was supposed to be a global release of the Poco F7, and I guess global minus the USA. I'm assuming that has something to do with the tariffs. You have a heating issue? On what phone? The S25 Edge, S25 Ultra, the Poco F7. I doubt you've gotten it by now, but what are you talking about? So check this out. Let's go to the specs real quick, and then we'll go here. GSM Arena. As you can tell, I've already... Now, this is a review. Let me see. I don't think it has spec down here yet. This is a nice looking phone. I do like it. Now, it only has 2 sensors. The sensors look rather small. If you look at these sensors compared to the back of the Pixel sensors look enormous. If you look at these right here, they look pretty puny. So that's probably the downside of the Poco. It has very, very strong specs. I'm not going to say very. It has strong specs, but I think the camera department's probably not its strong point, right? It's got a nice big display. It's got a nice big battery. It's got the same processor that the Nothing Phone 3 is going to have. It has the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8S Gen 4, which was just launched a couple months ago. 12 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage starting out, 90 watt fast charging. Now it has a premium build aluminum frame, glass panels front and back, IP68 rating. Comes with Android 15 HyperOS 2 with 4 OS updates and 6 years of security support. I think this is the same update schedule you're going to see on the Nothing Phone 3. 4 years of software updates, 6 years of monthly security updates. Solid. Now they do say solid main camera performance, notably after dark. It has a big, bright, vibrant 6.83 AMOLED display. Now, some of the cons that GSM Arena put on here is we expected longer battery life based on the large capacity. This battery, which we'll get into in a second, is enormous. basic ultra wide and selfie camera performance. So to brag about, right? No eSIM support for global variants. The Nothing 3 will have eSIM support. So that's a big bonus. Now, I don't think this phone is marketed for the US market, is geared for the US market, shall I say, because you can't buy it. You go to their website. Now, this has an enormous battery. Before we move on to the website, it has a 6,500 milliamp per hour battery. Not silicon carbon, regular lithium ion, but it is huge nonetheless. 6,500 milliamp per hours. Let me jump to their website. It's a little more braggadocious, shall I say, but you do get a chance to, let's see here. Their website, you get basic specs, but one thing I did like about this is the new vapor chamber. These Chinese companies, these Chinese phone manufacturers, they take the heating in the vapor chambers into serious consideration in manufacturing these devices. I'm sorry about the aspect ratio. My screen, how I have it set up, isn't really optimized for StreamYard. You're doing 2 million points in Antutu. This is the same processor that Nothing is using for their phone 3. So specs shouldn't, the scores and performance shouldn't be identical, but I think comparable, right? Because they'll get the CPU, but they have to fine tune it with their software. It does come with UFS storage 4.1. They're calling it Ice Loop System. You see that? It's a brand new vapor chamber. They're calling it Ice Loop System. It's the largest ever 3D dual channel ice loop cooling system, designed for cooler temperatures and maximum efficiency. Very cool. I love that stuff. Now, again, huge battery life, although GSM Arena says they wish they had they expected a little more battery life out of this device because it has such a big battery. But we don't have specifics. It has a nice, as far as how the screen on time and the utility, but you won't get that. It was just released today. I'm sure here in the next week or two, you'll be get some good battery life videos here on YouTube. I was actually considering buying this, but I don't think we can, which we'll investigate here shortly. Eye care, it does. This is one thing more United States, but more phone we have available to us in the United States. This is one thing I wish they would focus on a little more. It's PWM, pulse width modulation. And some people, not a lot, people get migraines when they first switch to a new phone. That's because the blue lights, the high refresh rate, sometimes messes with people's eyes, brains, headaches. It's happened to me once. Now, you will get used to it. So if you do have a phone that gives you headaches, or maybe you don't put two and two together, that happened to me. I can't remember what phone it was, about 2 years ago. Started using a new phone, and I was getting migraines. Like the first few days of using it, boom, it hit me out of nowhere. Maybe I'm getting headaches because of this phone. And the phone I was using did not really have good PWM management. But you do get used to it. Unfortunately, headaches get less and less the more you use it, but it's just a pain in the ass. So this has Wet Touch Display 2.0, just like kind of like OnePlus has on their OnePlus 13 devices. Now these cameras, you get a 50 megapixel Sony IMX882 with 1.5 aperture, optical image stabilization with a 6P lens, whatever that means, and you get an 8 megapixel ultra wide. So you're getting a 50 megapixel in the back and an 8 megapixel ultra wide. I have a feeling the people that are buying this phone are not necessarily people that take a lot of pictures or care necessarily about pictures. This is more of a more affordable gaming phone, if that makes sense. I'm sure it'll take decent photos, but nowhere near pixel level. But I think people are buying this to basically, it's a cheap gaming phone. Let's just Tell it how it is. It's a cheap gaming phone. Cheaper. I mean, it's no slouch. It's got a nice, but when you compare it to a real high performer that has the very best Snapdragon 80 Elite, like a, I don't know, OnePlus 13, or some of these other Chinese phones that have the 80 Elite in there, that's the maximum gaming phone. But those are typically $600, $700, $800. This is $400, and you get a flagship experience with a CPU. They're going to implement some AI into there. Of course, they make every shot look nice, which they should do. 20 megapixel front facing 20 megapixel front facing camera, sensor up front. Let's see. I like the design of this. Now, the problem is, if you do want to get this, the problem is there's no buy button on there. See, here's their AI. It's, again, nothing to brag about, but you do have writing features. You do have AI speech recognition. You know, it is what it is. I don't think a lot of people are heavy AI users. But if you want to get this, the problem is there's no buy button on their website. Looked before I went live. I looked. It's like, where the hell do you buy this? It said relaunched globally, right? There is no buy button on here. Let me go up. Usually on the Xiaomi US website, there are buy buttons on all Mi.com sites, Xiaomi sites, because Poco is owned by Xiaomi. There are buy buttons. Whenever you want to buy it, this is always on the top right of that product page. Here, there is no buy button. It's usually up here with overview specs, and then you have a buy button. It's nowhere to be found. Here you can get the full spec sheet, but we already went over that. But I'm just saying, and it's not even in the menu, right? They don't even have it in the menu. Does this have Gorilla Glass? What does it have on there? Let's see. Has a high PPI, 447. It's pretty freaking high. So the display, I'm sure it looks beautiful. It has Corning Gorilla Glass 7i. So it has a, not the best Gorilla Glass on there, right? But it is what it is. And it gets up to 1700 nits. Sorry about that. Peak bright, I take that back. Peak brightness, 3200 nits. Jesus, I'm all over the place here. But no buy button. So, well, new Poco F7, nowhere to be found. So if you want to buy this, it looks like the only place you're going to be able to get this is probably on eBay. But you're going to be paying a little more because somebody purchased it wherever they in another country, and they're adding on. They want to flip it and make a profit, right? So I'm assuming instead of buying it for $400 like they have MSRP, probably going to find this for sale right around $500. Maybe that's for the base 12 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage. If you want the upgraded 12 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of storage, you're probably going to be paying upwards close to the 600 range, which doesn't even get an option in my brain. And even at the upgraded price, or if you're buying it on the aftermarket, like on eBay, even at $500, I'm not getting it. I only consider getting it if it was like $399, right? Like, so out of pocket with taxes, you're paying like $420, right? Something like that. I was like, I could do that. Anything over that, no, because then you're getting up to, let's look at the competitors. Anything over the 420 range, and you're getting into Pixel 9a, which is $499. Now, I know it doesn't compare performance-wise, but it will take way better photos and videos than this. $499 for the Pixel 9a. You can even get a Pixel 9, which has even better specs, for right around the same price. Let's be honest. You can find them on OfferUp, on Swappa, on Mercari, on eBay. And then you're getting into the OnePluses, and that's where it'll blow this away. The the OnePlus 13R. Now, I know it has last year's flagship CPU, but if you're talking about performance, last year's Snapdragon flagship CPU, what is it, the 8 Gen 3, probably beat the 8S Gen 4, which is in this new Poco F7 phone, performance-wise. But the OnePlus 13R, I would imagine, has better specs all around. Now, that's a little more expensive brand new, but if you want to buy one brand new, I believe you can get them for $499. Look, one of our viewers said just the other day he found one for $400, a OnePlus 13R, and that has better specs than this. So right around 400 is like the most I would pay, right? Anything over that, it's kind of not worth it. So that's why it kind of intrigued me. Yeah, I might be able to actually, I can see myself buying that. And then there was no buy button. And the thought kind of left my brain, right? Because again, I would rather have a OnePlus 13R than this. Hell, honestly, I'd rather have, again, everybody's different, right? I'm not a gamer. If you're a gamer, you might want this phone. If you're a gamer, you might choose this Poco F7 phone over a Pixel 9a, right? Or over a Pixel 9. Where I'm sitting right here in my seat, I would rather have a Pixel 9 over this device. Now, that's just me. Again, I don't game, but you know, I do a lot of photos and videos, so that's why I continually use Pixel to this day, right? So, and then you can also get probably get a Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus. That's right, last year's flagship, not mid-range, but mid model, right? Not the small, not the ultra, but the S24 Plus. That has better specs than this phone, and you can find one used, mint condition, for right around $500. I've seen them out there. So once that price starts going up, there's better options out there. But starting price of $399, pretty good deal. But again, what are your options? And only you are the judge of that, right? Only you know how you use your phone. If you're a big gamer, if you play a lot of games, it's a pretty good option at $399. But again, there's other options once that price goes up a little more. So I got to run. It's my daughter's birthday. I do appreciate the time. I did wanted to get this in quick. The gaming test between the F7 and the S5 Ultra and the Poco F7 come out on top. I'm sure the S25 Ultra is going to do better. It has a better processor, right? So I'm sure it will do better. Although the Poco phone, like, that's the thing I wish they would implement more in the more popular phones here in the US, is like sampling rate, right? Is the touch rate, was it touch sampling rate? Or some phones, even Motorola has a phone that is 144 hertz refresh rate, right? Which is good for games. But the S25 Ultra is only at, 120 hertz refresh rate. I think this Poco F7 has 144, I believe. So it has a higher refresh rate. So just raw performance, the S25 Ultra. But this is no slouch. This Poco F7 is definitely no slouch. Let's see. Touch sampling rate up to 480 hertz. Instant touch sampling rate 2560 hertz. Interesting. The 2560 hertz instant touch sampling rate is activated under game turbo mode. So very interesting. There's a little things that I wish these more mainstream companies for us, like Samsung and Google, I wish they would pick a couple of things of these Chinese phones that they would implement in their phones. That's just me, but I gotta run. It's my daughter's birthday. I do appreciate the time. We'll have a more in-depth live stream tomorrow, show tomorrow. But I did want to get this out there since it did get released today. Maybe I'll do some snooping around and see if it's possible to buy one at $399 instead of a high rate on the third-party market. But appreciate the time. I hope everybody has a wonderful afternoon, and I will see you tomorrow. audio cuts in and out. And I tell you what. Giz Top. Yes, Giz Top. Yes, yes, yes. Good point. Sure you can find it there at a decent price. Damn, man. StreamYard. Alright, I gotta run. I'll look into that and see what I can do. Maybe I need to rewire my microphone, but who knows? StreamYard's been real shitty lately, and they just raised their prices. Alright, man. Peace.